Welcome to PM Movie Recaps. Today's pick is an action and horror of 2019, Escape Room. If you're ready, let's enjoy the video. A man falls into a room. He goes to the door and sees that it has a lock with codes on it. He moves one of the numbers, and the wall of the other side starts to come towards him. So, he looks around for clues. A book tells him to look at time. In various paintings, the people's hands are placed like the hands of a clock. 4, 8, 6, 2. The code to the door. He quickly moves the relevant numbers. However, the code does not work. He screams in terror, as the wall continues squashing him. Zoe is a college student studying physics. She's a shy, self-conscious girl. Jason is a rich and successful stock trader. And Ben is a poor kid, who works as a stock boy at a grocery. Back at Jason's office, he gets a box with a note and cube that does not open. Meanwhile, Zoe gets a parcel with a different note in a similar box. Ben also gets a note in a box. He tries to smash it open, but it does not work. Instead, a small segment comes out. Jason and Zoe are also discovering the puzzle box's secrets. After working on it for a while, all of them come across a card. An invitation to minus escape rooms, where they can escape and win $10,000. All of them go to the location. Ben meets a woman, Amanda, who's an Iraq War veteran, and is suffering from PTSD. She checks in and the guard makes her leave her phone there. In the waiting rooms, Amanda meets up with the others, and also a middle-aged man named Mike, who works as a truck driver. One of the contestants, Danny, is an escape room enthusiast. He starts mentioning all the escape rooms he's participated in and that no one has ever escaped this particular room, ever. Ben starts getting impatient, so he goes out. However, the door handle breaks. In its place is what looks like an oven timer. Danny realizes that they are already in the escape room, and the puzzle has already started. So, he makes them all look around for clues. Mike finds a screwdriver in Fahrenheit 451. Seeing this, Zoe puts the dial at 451 degrees. Suddenly, the roof starts glowing red hot with heat. The windows also board up, and the heat increases on most walls. Amanda starts panicking. Therefore, Zoe helps her get some water. She sees an instruction to use the coasters. Everyone presses on it, and a painting reveals a duct behind it. Jason goes first until he comes to a grate. So, Mike goes in with a screwdriver he found earlier, and Jason uses it on the grate and steps out. Amanda goes next, with the others now using both hands on the coasters, while the heat is slowly affecting them all. So, Zoe brings in glasses filled with water to put on the coasters, and that seems to work. Meanwhile, Amanda, having to crawl in a small vent, is suffering from a combination of claustrophobia and PTSD. So, Zoe goes inside to take care of her. Ben and Danny continue filling the glasses. However, they don't have enough water for the final glass, as Amanda drank that earlier. While Zoe pushes Amanda forward, Ben and Danny face a new hazard. So, Ben quickly pours all his alcohol in the glass, and they escape through the vent. Just in the time too, as a gas stove descends down, and burns the table away, almost hitting the people in the vent too. They arrive in what looks like a cabin. The door has a lock requiring a 7-letter word. Mike points out a signboard saying you'll go down in history. Ben notices some letters all around the cabin, and thinks back to a Christmas song he and his friends sang, just before getting into an accident. The song says Rudolph, so they try Rudolph. It works. They all step out of the cabin into an extremely cold place. They all left their jackets in the hot room. Danny steps out onto the ice, until he hits an invisible wall. The wall releases an icy air, and the cabin door and windows close. So, they start looking for clues. Amanda finds a single coat, which she gives to Zoe to share one by one. Mike finds a dog staring at the trees. From there he retrieves a fishing pole. In good timing, Ben finds a fishing hole. Zoe also finds a compass in the jacket. She follows north and the compass changes directions, to point towards an animal stuffing. From there, she retrieves a magnet. She attaches it to the line and they drop it into the hole. Jason is eyeing the jacket and he asks it from Zoe, who willingly gives it up. The magnet attaches to a box which they pull up. Suddenly, the ice breaks from under Danny, and he falls through. The water has a current, and he gets pulled around in there. The others can only look helplessly, as Danny drowns. Everyone is in shock, and they realize that this stuff is real. They put their hands over the icebox, while waiting for the ice to melt. All that time, they pass the jacket around. The key finally comes off, and they put it in the door. However, A door opens on the other side of the room, and the ice starts to break. They barely make it in. The next room is a pub, but upside down. The escape door does not have a handle, and the pool table does not have the 8-8 ball. So, they start looking for it. Suddenly, the floor breaks and Ben barely saves Mike. After that, they all get off the floor. Amanda climbs to the upside down bar. Behind the counter she finds a locker, requiring a 4-digit pin. Zoe looks around and sees a giant sliding puzzle. She and Mike go to it and she starts moving it around. From the puzzle, they make out yellow stripes, a black ball, blue stripes, and such. They correlate it to the pool balls and Amanda puts in the numbers from the balls. However, it's wrong. Just then, another section falls and Mike and Ben climb onto the puzzle. But, the puzzle also leans back. Zoe falls down and loses consciousness. She thinks back to the time her flight crashed, killing her parents. When she woke up, they were upside down. She wakes up and tells Amanda to put the earlier code, but in reverse. It works, and Amanda retrieves the 8 ball from inside. However, she is now trapped on the other side of the room, away from the door. So, she jumps and grabs the pool table. As she's making her way across, the 8 ball falls. So, she jumps to the floor, quickly takes the ball, and throws it to the others. The floor falls below her and she falls all the way down. Zoe is the most traumatized. Jason puts the 8 ball in place of the handle, and Ben has to pull Zoe into the next room. In the next room, they all find hospital beds that relate to their past. Everything is placed exactly the same. Zoe checks Amanda's military medical records. Amanda was the only survivor from her group after an eyed blast. All of them talk of the traumatic events that put them in the hospital. Zoe's entire family died in a plane crash. Jason and a friend got stranded while on a fishing trip. They had one jacket to share. His friend started to hallucinate and swam off, and then drowned somewhere. Ben drove when he was drunk, and got into an accident, which killed all his friends. Mike survived a cave-in in a mine. His brother died there. Danny's report says that his family was killed, due to carbon monoxide poisoning, and he alone survived. Zoe realizes that they were all lucky to survive their earlier accidents, and now the game master wants to see who'll be the luckiest amongst the lucky. Suddenly, a TV starts counting down from 5 minutes. So, they all look around for clues. Mike finds some x-rays. It's sign language for EKG. Zoe is tired of playing by the rules, so she starts breaking the rules in the cameras. Jason sees a cylinder of poison, and realizes what will happen when the time ends. He also finds an EKG machine, which they use to monitor Mike's heart. Meanwhile, Zoe is smashing things all over the room, to find another way through. Since Mike's heart rate is not high enough, Jason pulls out some defibrillators. Mike is scared, but Jason convinces him to do it. However, the high heart rate is still not enough, and Mike passes out. The time runs out, and the poison gas releases into the room. Just then, Jason realizes that they want high and low heart rates, so he calms down and meditates, until his heart rate drops. It works and a vent opens up. Jason quickly escapes inside. Ben tries to convince Zoe to escape, but she's determined to find another way. So, Ben leaves reluctantly. Something falls from the last camera, and Zoe goes towards it. It's an oxygen mask, but she passes out. Ben is angry that they left Mike and Zoe to die. He questions Jason's story, and claims that Jason's friend did not swim away. He killed him for the jacket. But they still work together, and find a hatch which they open. Immediately after, they start hallucinating in a dreamlike state. On the underside of the hatch, a message tells them to find the antidote. But everything is difficult in their state. Ben finds the antidote, which is enough for only one person. Jason immediately goes for it, and they get into a fight. Ben manages to smash his head onto the wall. He then injects the antidote on himself as Jason dies. Ben then goes down the hatch and falls into the room. Meanwhile, some people are entering the earlier room. There, they look at the oxygen mask. Without them realizing it, Zoe wakes up and attacks them from behind. She then takes their gun, and goes into the hidden room. Meanwhile, Ben is being crushed in the room below. So, he enters the fireplace. Doing so, he survives and literally breaks into another room. It's the control room, monitoring everything they're doing. A voice speaks from a distance. It's the Game Master. The Game Master is impressed with Ben, whom he thought to be an underdog. He says that they are doing this to provide entertainment to rich and powerful people who have a thirst for human savagery. Just like with the gladiators of old. And they do it every year. Ben asks to go home, but the Game Master suddenly starts strangling him with a garrote rope. Zoe arrives just then, and shoots the game master, who runs away. Zoe goes after him, but he ambushes her. As he's about to kill her, Ben knocks him out. Then, he wastes no time and finishes himself off. After that, Zoe and Ben escape. Zoe takes Ben to a hospital where he starts to recover. A detective takes Zoe with him back to the Minus building. However, the entire place has been changed, and nothing that she described remains. The police do not believe her and she has no way of proving it. 6 months later, Zoe and Ben are now together. Ben is doing well in a proper company. Zoe then shows him articles. All of the others who died have some news made up about them. Heart attack for Mike. Bike accident for Jason. Drowning in a lake for Danny. Rock climbing accident for Amanda. Zoe then brings out the Minus Group's logo, uncovers numbers on it, coordinates to an unlisted building in Manhattan. So, they both decide to take a flight there. Plane, that has turned into an escape room. The hostess uses clues to enter the pilot's cabin, where the 2 pilots are dead. She tries to pull it up, but the plane crashes. However, it's just a simulation in preparation for the actual game. A man in the shadows shows Zoe and Ben's flight number, which they need to intercept for the next game. Thank you for watching, but before leaving please make sure that you click subscribe and turn on the notification so that you can enjoy watching more videos like this.